In this video, I want to shed some light on the importance of discovery in the process of scoping out a website project. Now, when I say discovery, what I'm referring to is a client comes to an agency with a need for a new website, and discovery refers to the process of the agency asking the right questions and being intentional about understanding the overall scope and scale of the project in order to get to a solid, good quote that reflects the needs of the client and is going to get them the product that they want. Now, the first thing that I want to illustrate with this, that even we have trouble with, obviously we want to get an accurate scope to the client as quickly as possible, but overall, a slower sales process leads to less surprises. Now, obviously this creates a little friction. If you're out there shopping for website bids, you're busy, you want to get numbers and clarity as quickly as possible. However, what I would encourage you to do if you're currently seeking out estimates for a website project is understand that although it can be a little bit frustrating, the company that's asking the most questions, being the most thorough and taking the most time on the front end is probably the company that's truly going to get you the most accurate estimate up front without any surprises during the middle of the project. So there's really no way to accurately package price websites. The needs of each client are so different. And here's some of the questions that we ask in order to make sure that our estimate that we provide is truly reflective of what you're looking for. These are all the different things that come into play. So obviously, first and foremost, to get a sense of scale is the overall number of pages of your website, right? That factors heavily into the amount of development time necessary to create those pages in a new environment with a new design. And overall, is the site going to be larger or smaller than your current website if you have one? Oftentimes I see a disconnect here where an agency may actually overprice it because if this question isn't asked, the true need might be that we have a website that's grown too much over time and we want to consolidate it to half of the size, which obviously requires less development work. And had that question been asked, the price and quote could have actually been less than what was initially put forward. Obviously, we want to get an understanding of if there's any new functionality. So if you have an existing site, we can look through it and understand what type of functionality items are on there now and get a sense of if those are going to be maintained, dropped off, or new ones are going to be added. These are things like contact forms, any sort of calculator or configurator that's on the site, items that are beyond just the front end design look and feel of the site are very important and can affect the scope dramatically if it's not understood exactly which items are going, which items are staying, and what might be new. With that, also change of platform. So if we're going from a WordPress site to a WordPress site, it's typically more simple than if we're taking a WordPress site and creating a Squarespace site out of it or something like that. And then also branding. This can have a huge impact. I find a lot of times that clients think of a new website as a rebrand potentially, and it's very important for us to know if you have a new brand or branding elements that you want to roll out with the site, or if you simply want a modernized version of your site with your current brand in place. That affects the overall scope and scale. And understanding that as early as possible is very important. A big one is integrations. This is one that I see missed a lot. So when we're talking about integrations, we're talking about everything from just clicking a pay now button that goes to a third-party payment system that's a simple link, all the way to potentially fully integrating a CRM into all of the forms and contact points of the site. So obviously beyond just understanding if there's integrations, doing the work on the front end to see if they're simple or complex. If I were in market for a new website, I would not hesitate to give potential agencies access to your current systems during the scoping process so they can truly see what it's going to take to make that integration happen. That is very important. It's something that we request and do if we're allowed. But again, the goal of all this is to lead to less surprises when the project kicks off and have a full understanding of what is needed before the actual scope and price is given. Another big one is analytics tracking. Companies have all different scopes and scales of current analytics tracking. Sometimes it's a a decent amount of work to transfer that analytics tracking over to a new website. The last thing that you'd want to do is obviously not have that included in the scope and have your analytics tracking not exist on the new website that's launched. So that's another thing we like to get clarity on. A big one is e-commerce. I see misscoped e-commerce websites pretty frequently. It can have a huge impact on the overall scope in terms of, obviously these are a few questions we ask: number of products, how you're handling your shipping, how your tax is calculated if it has to be done manually or through an automated tax plugin, and then obviously payment gateway, how is the website going to collect money and actually get it into your business bank account. So this is just a little bit of an illustration of what I feel is a selection of things that are necessary to get answers to get an accurate website quote. And the main message of this video is, if you're going through this process now, understand that, again, some patience is required in this process. I know we all want to get numbers and clarification as quickly as we can on what a new project's going to look like. But again, slower sales process, less surprises, and the company that you're talking to that's asking the most questions is probably the one that's being the most diligent and is going to get you the most accurate quote up front. So I hope this helped. It's something that we really try hard to do here at Northwing, is get a full understanding of what the project looks like. So once we kick it off, that is the project price, and there's no surprises once the project is in process. So hope that helps. If you have any questions, let us know. Thanks.